There will be a list. I'm not sure when the list comes out and where it gets sent, but I'll try to pin this down. You may know better than I because you've been working with it directly, but there is a list of our reserved seats in each section. And when it shows closed in CUNY first, our reserved seats will not show in CUNY first. So you need to go to that list. And I'm inquiring right now through the bio department, what are the mechanics of that? Now, some advisors may know how that works, how you access our reserved seats. So for now, since I'm not sure of the details, let me just tell you that we do have those reserved seats. Don't assume you can't get the student in there. And if it's still not clear by time we go to next term, mail me and we'll clarify how you access those seats. Okay, so let's see what else. Oh yeah, we're a C-Pass line. So our courses, once you get in our track, everything you're looking at in our track has to be a C. Now, I'm not sure about English comp. You may know a little bit better than I do about that. I'm not sure about English comp. Some of the advisors may know, but everything that's in our basic track that we run and bio runs has to be a C to pass. So it will go through as being passed in CUNY first with a C minus or a D, but that student needs to retake. So when you're working with our continuing students, when you see, check the transcript, look and see if there's a C minus in there, or even a D plus, I think is considered passing. So the C pass line, yep. One more thing, and then questions, which I hope you have. And for those of you who've been working with this reserve seating situation, I'd appreciate your input on that. Actually, two more things. We've been asking that when you complete the registration process, you forward your summary mail, either to me or Professor Lazoe, or both of us, or I'll put my mail address in the chat. And when you're done advising, and you send out a beautiful confirmation, and it includes all kinds of things, especially for the entering students, please forward that immediately to us, just so we can track what's going on with the students. And we can double check, we can have your back on things if something slipped through that doesn't look right. And we want to correct it right away, because every now and then we have unfortunate stuff. And we look at them in their last term and for the graduation audit, and something got missed, or they had a C minus and it went through. And so we just don't want that to happen. So please, most of you have been doing this now, but please remember, when you finalize for any of our majors, that lovely notice you send them finalizing their meeting and summarizing it, giving them their schedule, just forward it out to us right away, so we can double check, make sure everything is great. And one more thing is, health clearance is such a gigantic headache in the massage therapy program. And we have students who 4 weeks, 5 weeks in, still don't have it. And this is a problem for retention. It's not a problem for us, because, quite honestly, I feel that some students aren't motivated. And, we don't want students who aren't motivated, but, the college needs retention. So all I can ask is that, especially for the entering students, the students who are first coming in, you really need to emphasize the necessity to get started on the health clearance immediately. I think what happens is, if they come in early, like a few months in advance, they just let it go and let it wait. And then they discover that they can't get to their doctor. The doctor's office doesn't have this, and the doctor's office takes, a year and a half to process things. So if you can remember, especially for our people coming in for fall one, well, we do have people entering in spring too. People can enter in spring too, on a delayed track. They can enter in spring. They can enter in semester two with A&P 1, right? So if they're entering in spring, it's A&P 1 and English comp if they need it, and Eastern 1. Okay, they can't do the Western track because they're going to need their Mayo, and so you can give them foundations, Eastern 1, And, you know, if they need English comp, or, you know, if they want an elective or something, not our elective, but your history of social science. All right, I think that's it. We have classes that are once a year. We have reserved seats for bio. We have a CPAS line. We need help with the health clearances. Just however you can be heavy with it. I mean, it's very critical, because at a certain point, they're going to have to drop the programs if they can't get the clearance done. I know some they're admitted the first week of school. I know that's, you know, they have to deal with that. And finally, sending us your summary letter, which many of you are doing, is super, super helpful, and I thank you for that. All right, I think I'm done. So questions or clarifications available? What's next?
Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Kornfeld while we have a few minutes here? Okay. All right. I appreciate your time, Dr. Kornfeld. Thank you so much.
Okay, or is anyone familiar with having access that reserve seat situation? Have any of the advisors here been able to access one of our reserve seats when the A&P sections were closed? Because I'm still trying to find out the actual mechanism of that.
Okay. Nobody?
Nobody.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah, I'll send you. I guess Michael, I can send you the clarification on that when I get the actual details.
Yeah, if you want to send it to Will Duque, because he's going to distribute all the materials, that would be great.
Okay, great. So I'll send it to Will. I'm just going to go in the chat and put my mail in, so you can forward your summary reports to me.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to work with everybody.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, next Friday?
We actually have our next speaker here, Dr. Burkout, but I saw that Andrea Salas popped in a few minutes earlier, and I know you want to join us last minute. Is that correct, Dr. Salas? Are you here now?
Yes.
Okay, great. I know you said you wanted to talk for a few minutes, so Dr. Burkout, if you don't mind, I'm going to have Dr. Salas do a quick presentation, and then we'll get you in right after. Would that be okay?
That's fine.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, Dr. Salas, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. And thank you,
No problem.
Bjorn. Appreciate it. I'll be very brief, and good to see my colleague, Ron Kornfeld, speaking on behalf of the massage therapy program. Really vital information. So again, I will be brief because I know that you have a lot on your schedule here. I just wanted to let you know that there are a couple of late starting classes that are still available. One being our CPR course that's starting on November 8th. It's a 1 credit. It meets 2 Fridays. So if you have students coming to you, they're short of a credit, what can they register for at this point in the semester? That would be one of them. I was just so excited to see that our pickleball class, which is starting at the end of October, is nearly filled. And so that is another late class that we offer, and it's really good to see that that enrollment is increased. But I just, again, to let you know, in case some students are looking to add another credit to meet their requirements. So the other items have to do with our AS in public health. Health, Physical Education, and Dance Department co-sponsors the public health program along with the biology department. And I'll just give you, and so if you ever have students that need advisement or mentoring or support, please feel free to reach out to our office, and we can provide support for that. Couple of things that we are not currently offering the HE 114 Principles and Practices of Public Health this spring. So students do need that course. They will need to we are offering it now, and we'll offer it again next fall. So please keep that in mind when advising students on on their requirements. I just wanted to point that out to you. We have started this semester internship course, HE 203. We're offering it this semester as a independent study. But if you do know of students who are interested who are in the public health program or as in liberal arts in nutrition, they can take the internship program as well. And it's 2 credits. And so, again, for that specified course, please have students contact our office. It's a great way for them to gain practical experience as they're going through their coursework. So those are just the few items. And last but not least, it's not directly related to advisement, academic advisement, but I'm really excited to share with you that the Health, Phys Ed, and Dance Department has appointed a new fitness and recreation specialist. You may know David Chambers. He's a longtime employee of QCC. He was in our department for many years as an adjunct and coach, as well as recreation supervisor. Most recently, he was in the mailroom, and now we are pleased that he's a full-time position. So look out for more activities for our students and more intramurals for them as well. And if any students are interested in lifeguarding, we need lifeguards. So those are my plugs for today, and I'll take any questions that you may have.
Okay. Hi, I'm back. Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you.
Thanks for the last minute. Any questions for Dr. Salas? Or any other last questions for Dr. Kornfeld? Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate it. And Dr. Burkow, welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
Hi. Sorry, I was juggling this morning like most of us do.
No, that's okay. That's okay. All right. Well, so I guess I will start off by talking about the MUS degree, the AS degree for music majors. So the first thing, I don't know if I can share my screen.
Yes, you can.
We do now have the new matriculation policy in place for all AS majors. And if you want, we will be updating our website, but if you go to our website under the academic departments, you can either scroll down to it or just click on information for new students. The new procedures for matriculation into the AS program are all laid out. And there they are, along with some FAQs. So the important thing to know for anyone who is someone who wishes to join our AS degree in the spring, and I think there are a few who have voiced interest in doing so. It's always a little bit hard because we don't offer all of the needed courses every semester, so it's really better to start in the fall, but we will take new students in the spring semester. But they do need to go through the new process of, they do need to be assessed by the music department to know whether or not they will be directly allowed into the AS program or whether or not they're going to have to first take a set of introductory courses that they need to meet minimum grades on. And all of that is detailed here. There's 2 components to how we now assess all incoming AS students. And this is for AS students only. Right now, we're not doing it for music production. If they're into music production, they don't need to come in for the assessment. This is just for AS majors, the MUS degree. There is a basic musicianship aptitude test, a BMAT, that they must take, and a theory placement exam, the MTPE. They can take the theory placement exam at any time that they can schedule it in the office here with our office assistant. And so we do actually recommend for students who are interested in joining in the spring, they should just come in when they can and take the music theory placement exam and just arrange for a time to do that with the office assistant, Sylvia Loza. That's going to give us a good chunk of the score we use to determine whether or not they can matriculate directly into the AS program or whether or not they need to take musicianship 1 or go directly into higher level theory. So that would be the first advice I'd give anyone who wants to become an AS major, is to contact us contact our office assistant, Sylvia Loza, and schedule a time to take the music placement exam. The other component, the BMAT, the Basic Musicianship Aptitude Test, that will be administered closer to the end of the semester. We will only do it once. We haven't announced the date yet. When we do announce the date, we will put it up here under information for new students, and I'll let the advisors know. It may be like 3 weeks before the end of the semester when we do it. I don't know. I think we'll determine it within the next couple of weeks, but we have to see where the schedule is falling. And that's the, the BMAT. There's information about what that is and what to expect with these down on the website. But that's where we do want to see how they play an instrument, if they play an instrument, at what level their natural musicianship abilities are at, so we know where to place them. So that's how to best handle any incoming students in the AS program. Probably, if you want to make sure that they are in A class for music, I would say go ahead and register them for Musicianship 1. That's safe. Lessons, we won't know until we are able to really assess them properly. And so that's, they'll need to wait for the BMAT for that. Couple of things about registering students who are coming back in the AS degree program. Students who graduate, who pass all their classes, we are offering Music Theory 2, MUS 122. So they should go into that. MUS 132, the class Piano 2, they should go into that. MUS 124, the ear training, they should go into that. They should choose a 400 level ensemble that's either the pop choir, the jazz, or the percussion. And I will send this list out to William, who can give it to all of you as well. And also they should consider taking MUS 102 this semester, which is going to substitute for what used to be the MUS 241 in our degree program, which we're not offering anymore. MUS 102 is the covers the Western music tradition, and in the class that will meet their history requirement as part of their AS degree. So that's something they should consider taking. A point to look out for, we did renumber our convocations that used to be 186, 187, 286, 287. They have been renumbered 141, 142, 143, 144. There was a reason for that. The reason was that it was interfering in how voice and percussion lessons were being recognized by DegreeWorks. So I do want you to be aware as advisors that if you look on DegreeWorks, they are voice students or percussion students. And I think someone needs to mute because I'm hearing my echo back. If they were registered for voice and percussion lessons, DegreeWorks may be showing that their individual lessons are not counting toward their degree. That is incorrect. They do. This is why we had to change the convocation numbers. And I think there's still some behind the scenes work that needs to be done, but those lessons will count. So if they run into any issues with this in terms of registration or financial aid, let me know. I believe October 15th is when they're supposed to kind of finally solve this problem that DegreeWorks is having with our course numbering. Switching now to music production, we do take new students in the spring. They should register for MP 101 and Musicianship 1. Music production students do not need to take the BMAT. If they want to take the theory placement exam, they're welcome to do so. And for that, they can just come and schedule an office appointment as well. Just be aware that music production 204 is not being offered in this upcoming semester. We offer 2 sections of it this semester. So if they need to take that, then take it this semester, they're going to have to wait until next fall when it will be offered again. I think that's the main big things, but I'm happy to take questions.
Let me see here. If you could, the first, go to the bottom where the classes for the recommended courses for the first semester.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah. So the problem with this is that Music Theory 1 is not offered in the spring.
Right.
If they test high enough in the theory placement to go directly in Theory 2, they can take Theory 2 and kind of be on track. But if they need musicianship 1, then this is a good time to actually take it.
Right.
And then take theory 1 in the fall when it's offered again. We won't know whether they need to take musicianship 1 in addition to theory 1 until we give them a thorough assessment. We may be able to determine that based solely on the music theory placement exam. But
Right.
that isn't the only component. So it's possible that we get enough information from that. It may be also that we just need to wait until they come to our scheduled BMAT before we can know whether to recommend them in musicianship 1 or tell them they don't need to take it.
Now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Obviously, they can register for one of the ensembles that's
Okay.
being offered. They can register for the convocation. I need to change this number since this number is different. And they can let us know that what their preference is for lessons, but we need to see what studios have availability and where their abilities are. So right now, it's likely that they would probably, there may be some opening in voice, but they would have to certainly, in essence, take the music assessment before we allow them in the voice studio. Otherwise, there's always room, there could be room in percussion or piano studios. But we would need to make that call as a department. So we would need to register them for the lessons.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, similar to what dance is doing. So those are, like you said before, the individual studies would go in, like pre-music major would go into the free electives, and then once they get placed, then if they get through it, then they can get into the MS for music, right?
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to double check.
Yeah, no, that's how that'll work. I think there's another hand, but the other thing that I would say is that if they are returning students who are in their lessons already, they don't need our permission anymore to register for the next lesson. In other words, if they're in voice 1, the student themselves can register themselves or their advisor can register them for lessons 2, as long as they meet the minimum grade that they needed to get. So we don't have a department block on that. We just are making sure that in their first semester of lessons, we have the ability to place them in an appropriate studio based on availability. After that, they can register themselves for lessons 2, 3, and 4.
Arthur, you had a question?
Yes, thank you. Hi, Dr. Burkout.
Hello.
Last time you were here, you mentioned that they might be going to liberal arts first, and then based on the test that they would take, I think, was it the MPTE or is it MTPE? The
It's
music.
both tests. That's correct. So what happens is they take the full assessment, which includes the music theory placement exam and the basic musicianship aptitude test.
Mhm.
If they score, it's 10 points possible. If they get 4 or higher, we'll allow them directly in the AS program without taking musicianship 1. If they score below that, it means they have very, very little prior experience with music theory, or playing an instrument, and may also be scoring very, very low on musical aptitude, which means they need to develop that before. And so we want those students to start in musicianship 1, so they have a chance to develop those that musical aptitude. And they do start off in the AA degree with the music courses counting as free electives.
But is it music AA or is it LAAA?
It's a liberal arts study in AA. It's not specific to music, but it's a program that will allow them to seamlessly stay in the AA program if they do not meet the minimum threshold grades because they don't develop enough musical aptitude to continue on.
So does that mean there's a liberal arts concentration in music now?
No, it's just an AA degree in liberal arts, for which they're using the music degrees classes will become their free electives.
So it's technically under liberal studies.
Correct.
So how will they be identified? Is there going to be like a student group?
That is being worked out. They're going to have a sub tracking that allows us to know that they're interested in becoming AS majors, but they're in the AA program. So yeah, there'll be a way to track it. We don't have, so it's not a special liberal arts degree in music. It's a liberal, it's the AA and liberal studies using music classes as free electives until they are matriculated into the AS.
I see. Okay, yeah, no, because unless students disclose that and oftentimes they don't know what questions to even ask. So that becomes tricky. So without an identifier, it just
Right
makes it
now, the
tough.
way it works is if they voice that they want to be an AS major, just advise them as an AS major with this matriculation, and our department will take care of the communication at this point of letting them know whether they go directly into the AS degree program or if we are going to have them start as AA. So at that point, we as a department are tracking them.
So is there like an interest form, or like how are they being tracked?
Again, the registrar has to determine that. We've been working with them. They haven't told us how they want to do it yet. So I'm hopefully in the next few weeks, we will solve that. Right now, I have a list of people who I'm given a list of people who have voiced interest in the AS program, and we reach out to them and let them know that they need to come in and take the assessment. And then if they
Okay.
pass, we let them know that they will be matriculated as AS. And if not, we let them know that they're going to start off as AAs and taking these music degree classes.
And is admissions gonna forward them first to you, the students that say that they want to pursue music? So that you're like they go through you before they come to advisement?
Ideally, this should be working in tandem. In other words, we have the list of the AS students or people who have voiced interest in AS when they and then we reach out to them. Ideally, we'd like to know who their advisor is going to be, but I know that they're not necessarily assigned advisor until later down the road, right? So if they've been assigned advisor, any communication that we have with those students will also go to the advisor.
Okay, awesome.
Right. And we do plan, we haven't quite made the conversion yet because of a couple of other things going on within the department, but the plan is to use the new advising program to put notes into the student's file to let anyone who advises them click on and see what score they got on the assessment, and to know whether they went directly in to the AS program or had to go first via the AA. And then if they don't pass, then they know that they should be advised to stay in the AA, because the problem is that they're not going to be able to succeed in music. They didn't develop a basic level of musicianship necessary to progress, in which case the AA really is the best place for them to get a degree, using music as free electives.
Then I'm wondering if you guys can do something like what speech used to do, or currently still does, where in the student summary under admissions, they will put whatever the speech placement is. Foreign language does something similar where they'll put their foreign language placement. So I don't know if you guys would do something like that as well.
I would love to. The registrar just needs to let us know how they want to handle it. But we will have that information available to them. If a student never comes for the assessment, despite our attempts to contact them, we give them a 0. And that means they automatically have to start in the AA, which has happened to some students who then come and they look like they're actually decent students. So the important thing is to make sure that they get to us for the assessment.
Okay. And one last question: the basic musicianship aptitude test, that is for the MUS classes, right? Musicianship 1 or higher.
That is for anyone who wants to become an AS major. And that's where we make the determination whether they go directly into music theory 1 without the supporting musicianship 1. But if they're scoring low on that test, then we tell them they need the additional class of musicianship, which can be taken either before or in conjunction with theory 1 to reinforce and strengthen their basic musicianship skills so that they are set up to succeed. In the spring, it's trickier because we don't offer theory 1, but in a way that means that if they don't score sufficiently to pass out of musicianship 1, this is a great opportunity to start on musicianship 1 well in the class, and then they're well set up for theory 1 in the fall. It does mean that they're going to have to be here for an extra semester, but that's what happens when they come late into the program, since it's a true four semester program starting in the fall.
Okay, no, that makes sense. I'm just thinking of like when they first come in to see us and they say, let's say, I want to pursue music, right? Let's say we put them in liberal arts, and we go through the classes that you have on the website for the first semester. If you could scroll down a little, so then how do we determine musicianship? Is that something we should leave
You,
out?
you can't, you should default register them for it. And then tell them to, once they're registered, we will see they're in musicianship. And if we make the determination they don't need to be in it, then we can work with them and with the advisor to find a better, more suitable class to substitute the musicianship class.
Mhm.
But also if they, sometimes, like I said, we can tell by just the music theory placement exam whether they need to be in musicianship or not as well. Sometimes we need both, sometimes we only need one, but it's tricky to know what comes first, you know, if they can wait with the registration until we assess them, that's fine. If they really want to make sure that they get all of their classes except for the musicianship one and such, they can wait with that decision. I really don't know the best way, whether, I mean, I think the best thing to do is to kind of register them for a full schedule and let us make changes as needed.
Okay, so then I would think in that situation or in that scenario, it would be best for us to, when we send out the advisement logs, so for example, when we advise a student, we'll send them an advisement log, usually virtually, especially for freshmen or new students. This way we can CC you or a representative from your office in that regard. So you guys are aware, like, this student has been advised, they're interested in music or so on and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can refer placement to the department as we've done in the past. Anyway, we're running short on time. I'm sorry to cut in, but we're thank you, Dr. Burkow. And any additional questions, you can email him as well. And is there any last inquiries before I move on? Okay. All right. Again, thank you, Dr. Burkow.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Next up is Anita Frendenzi. Hi, Anita. How are you?
Hi, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be part of your group here and to meet everybody.
Did you have a PowerPoint or?
No, I
Okay.
just wanted to go over some key items of the program.
Sure.
So as you know, that students who are interested in pursuing a degree in education, career in education, they have two options now. Option one is the dual joint program, and option two is the education concentration in liberal arts. And what they both have in common as required courses are the Education 101, right, contemporary education, and Education 230, which is developmental psychology in cultural contexts for student development. And you know, it's interesting. It's evolved in the beginning. The students who are education majors used to switch over to the concentration based on their GPA deficits. Now, and then it came about the time when it seemed that ASAP didn't allow students who were in a dual joint program to be part of that program and had to do liberal arts, which was our impression. It seems that that's what was happening. Am I correct in that?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Oh, was there a time when students who were in ASAP who wanted to pursue a degree in education could not be part of the dual joint program because of
Yes,
the way
I
it
mean,
was
many-
registered, right?
Yeah, several years ago.
Yes. So now, so we've got students who are choosing to be the education concentration transfer student for two different reasons. But what I want to say is for the option one, as you know, there are many stipulations for the dual joint program that are pretty stringent. But for, I mean, it's not official yet, but in conversations that we've been in with Queens College, there are going to be many changes and additional programs perhaps. And from what I can see, reduced requirements, I mean, in terms of GPA. And, you know, if you don't get B or above in a certain course, it won't count. Now it seems like it's moving in the direction of C or better. But at the current moment, it is, you know, we are status quo with what we have on the books. So I just, you know, wanted to let you know that, and that will be up and coming. I also was curious how, because many, from our vantage point, many of our students, they never seem to be aware of what program they're in, that they're part of an academy, that they're, you know, that they're either in the dual joint or in the LA concentration. So I was just curious, when they come to you, how do they express their preference? How do they make that choice?
Well, typically that's the first question we ask them. I mean, that's where we start. That's where the advisement session starts organically, where you say, you know, I mean, real basic. What is it that you want to do? Why are you here? What are your goals? So, it's pretty standard for every advisor to do that. Sometimes students aren't sure what they want, so maybe it might come off as not knowing anything.
Right. Right. But it is really very interesting when, you know, they're like, I don't really know what program I'm in, or, but, you know, that's one thing I wanted to share with you. Also, in terms of, you know, we used to have a very effective learning community. Were you here at that time?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe it was with the advent of CUNY First, for programmatic reasons, we weren't able to implement this research proven with our population pedagogically effective approach for our students who were taking physics and education at the same time. So I'm really, you know, looking forward to perhaps the possibility moving forward that maybe there's a way through advisement, because I know David Lieberman always says, you know, there is a way you can do it through advisement, that we could reinstate such a program whereby students are supported in their learning in, you know, their most low efficacy and most fearful required course at the beginning of their journey. You know, I don't know, have you ever done that, you know, through advisement, create a course, a learning community?
We're kind of experimenting with that now with first year
great.
students.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah, I
No,
know.
because we always want to do block programming. That would be optimal. But it doesn't seem to be possible. So, you know, I'm just wondering if through a partnership with the advisors, we could do a thing like that, because it is so beneficial.
That's an interesting. I think it's a concept that's been used before, so it's not far-fetched at all, you know.
Right. It seems to be something that is the programmatic structure of it. You know, how it's the nitty-gritty strategy of how to do it.
Okay.
Hi, Dr. Benz.
Hi.
This is Mike Medina, Director and Advising. Yeah, we've had some conversations in the past about block scheduling, and I think you're right. It's the administrative piece with the registrar and
Yes.
how we organize that. It does help from an advising perspective if there's, you know, some sections or blocks or groups of courses together, you know, that happens with theater and stuff like that. So things like that are helpful. So maybe we can chat further And I apologize, there is a bad echo in here.
No, that would be wonderful. That
But
would
yeah,
really
chat
be-
further, offline about something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we welcome that.
Awesome, thank you.
Are there any questions? I know, besides the echo. Okay, Mandy mentioned something. Okay, typically students who want to teach elementary 1 to 6 should be part of the dual joint. Okay. Anyone want to elaborate on that, or?
Yes, they would. However, they start switching out when they start failing required courses. For example, and there is a mechanism, I believe, because this just happened last semester, where a student did have the required 2.75 GPA, but she failed one of the New York State not failed, but she got below a B in one of the New York State core required subjects. But through a waiver, the chairperson was able to move her along, and she will retake that subject, right, once in Queens College. But as I said, now it seems like there are discussions to lower that requirement in terms of grade.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for attending. I think this has been the first time in a while. You came a few years ago.
Yes, and I'm really looking forward to following up on resurrecting the learning community.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Next is Professor White from Media Production. Professor White.
Oh, I'm here. Sorry, I just wandered off here for a minute. Where am I here? Let's see.
Welcome.
So I'm in my glamorous conference room. I do have a short PowerPoint. I'm just going to try to keep this pretty lo-fi. So I'm going to just share my screen for a second. I represent film and media production in, pardon me, I am hoarse today, but yeah, so I represent film and media production. So I'm just going to do this little slideshow thing. If I can get this going, and then so we can just talk about pretty briefly what we do and how we do that. So we have our film program is interesting because we actually have 2 articulation agreements with Brooklyn, because Brooklyn has 2 separate departments. They have film, and then they have television, radio, and emerging media, which has got more of a journalistic documentary focus. So we actually have articulations for the same program with both of them, which is weird. It does not show up in the TREC system. It is bizarre. I've had so many students having trouble trying to get that to show up, but it just doesn't. And it's a systemic thing. I recommend that if you do have a problem, the students wants to transfer to Brooklyn, tell them to talk to us first, okay? Because it's been a little problematic with the transfer office because it's not showing up in TRECs. Apparently, only one articulation agreement can show up at any given time. So, but we have 2. So anyway, that's, but we do have articulations with both of them, so they can go there. And we're going to work on some other ones. We're trying to get Lehman and City College. Those are mostly where our students mostly transfer to Brooklyn, Queens College, as well as City College these days. So anyway, so here we go. I guess the main thing is, and it's improved a lot, I guess, because we schedule now in cohorts, but they really should be taking 141, which is the foundational course. They should be taking that in their first, at the latest, second semester. Because what happens is the skills do build in the program. And we've had this in the past. It's not happening as much anymore. And by the way, I want to thank you all for advising our students, because we are, there's really only 2 full-time faculty with 160 majors. So we appreciate you more than you know. Okay. But just the main thing is that they should be taking 141 in their first or second semester, because all of these classes build, and many of the classes have prerequisites. 141 is the prerequisite for like everything else. They have to take that before they continue in film. So hopefully in their first 2 semesters, they get 141 and 241 out of the way. They're both like the beginning and advanced production. And spread the production courses out over 4 semesters is a really good thing to do. The foundational courses are the beginning and advanced production. We have television studio, editing. Those are the fundamental courses that everybody has to take. They also have to take film history. They should take elements of film. If it's a great thing if I kind of designed it so the courses would be spread out over a bunch of semesters, because then they maintain access to the software for the entire time they're here, which is very expensive. So that's something we aimed at. However, in a pinch, we have studio production and editing can be taken at the same time. We're letting people do that all the time. We're waiving that prerequisite almost all the time, but we can't really waive the prerequisites for the beginning and advanced production classes. Those we can't. Oh, we have screenwriting too. I forgot about screenwriting. How can I forget about screenwriting? And again, if you have any questions about it, I wrote the program, so I can probably answer them the best of anybody. So either me or my chair, Professor Jimenez. And what else do we got? Yeah, I have this little like rough schedule, and I realize that our students' paths are not linear or anything like that. So, but I can gladly forward this to anybody who wants a sequence to tack up on their wall for reference. And this isn't an ideal world. Of course, we don't live in an ideal world. So, and also I didn't even think when I started this program, I didn't even think about people who start in spring. So we did have an issue in the past with, we didn't run enough of the beginning courses. I know that was an ongoing issue for a while. And now we're running 2 sections of 141 and 2 sections of 241 all the time. You can only run it in one room in the school. So that's, that's the thing. So it's better than not. And it has a very small cap. We're capped at 16. We will go up to 18 periodically, but it's not good for over tally, because the way the equipment distribution goes is we only have so many computers. We only have so many cameras. So that's how that goes. And which is why we can't have really more than a certain amount of people in the class. What else? Our students often go on to internships with Media Makers, which is a program at CUNY-wide. Their funding may be sunsetting, but which is tragic, but you can get more information on Media Makers. I have several students who've gone through the program, and they're working all over the place now, and they're being quite successful, not often in ways they initially envisioned, which is also really great. It's not a linear path, this profession. So a lot of times you take a lot of detours and to find out what you really end up doing. But if you need, contact Patrick at RealWorks, or just contact Media Makers directly. They have a talent portal, I'm on a ship now, a talent portal that students can register with. And I have several students in that talent portal. So if people need people, they go into this talent portal and hire people. So it's a really wonderful, wonderful program. However, I don't think the city is going to continue paying for it, which is kind of tragic, but that's another discussion for another time. And so, yeah. And by the way, the job outlook is, and this is something I really like to stress, this is an industry that students can get work in. They can get work with a 2-year degree. That's fine. They don't need the 4-year degree. There are plenty of union jobs that pay $80,000 a year, and you You can do it with a community college degree. And there are jobs all over the place in so many different things. The industry employs business students, it employs tradespeople, it employs makeup, hair, wardrobe. There's a reason movie credits are nine minutes long, right? So there's a lot of jobs. I know the industry is in a little bit of contraction right now with the streaming services cutting back on content, but we're not really sure how that's going to shake out. But traditionally, it is one of the larger employers in the New York area. I think it's like the 6th largest employer. So I really think it's a strong choice for people who want to work and maybe don't see themselves at a 4-year college all the time, because there are so many different jobs. I have one of my best students right now is doing sound all over the place. So that's kind of just what I got. So if anybody has does that clarify things for people? I mean, it's pretty. It's just, I guess, to be mindful of prerequisites is like the one thing I would tell anybody. And all right, I designed it to be an orderly progression. I think that we're rethinking that because, students' needs change, the industry changes. So I know we're going to have to rejigger down the line, but so I hope that was helpful.
It was, and you did point out issues in the past.
Yeah.
For example, the spring start with the
oh my God. Yeah.
With the FMP 141, which
yes,
I know we were fighting for spring sections for that as well, and then
now you got 2.
Well, that's good. We really needed it. And then I guess there was always situations where I guess like when registration was, in the last 2 weeks, let's say, there was cases where we tried to push for an extra section, and I know, I went to Julian a couple times, so hopefully, I guess we could just manage it as as they come.
Well, we have, and it's becoming an accreditation issue actually with us,
Right.
is that we don't have enough space, that we only have this one classroom with only so much stuff. It's really become an issue. So, we are so aware of it. Ideally, and actually recently. Good news is we just had the Hedges Code changed. So we're going to be eligible for Perkins grants, which is great.
Yeah, no,
So,
that opens it up. I was always wondering if they were going to move to media, because I always asked them if they were going to do music production, and I think they were only doing digital art design.
No, actually music has Perkins. Music has Perkins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, and actually Ernie was telling me, it's like, I have the Perkins people here. They can't believe you're not on Perkins. I'm like, we're getting there. So, which is great. And that will help us really, because we have a facilities issue. Let's face it. We all know that. So but there's just a facilities issue, and we need, and film productions, we're not a cheap date.
Any questions for Professor White?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Just email me if you have a question. And,
if you have the PowerPoint, we could share that with, because I know you with the, it's good to have a guide, or is there any way that can be put on the website, like a course sequence? So.
Wow.
But in the meantime,
I thought it was there. But I will make sure about that.
Okay.
That's kind of crazy.
Right.
Okay.
And if you just if it's any course sequence you could send us, that would be good for a guide for our advisors, especially new advisors as well.
Oh, because it's just become some lack of understanding. And, not that many programs have solid prerequisites like we do. So it's kind of new, I think. So. All right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for doing this. And I appreciate you all to advise our like 150 students, because 2 of us cannot do that alone. So we appreciate you. All right.
Okay,
thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, moving on. We have Dr. Srivastava from Public Health.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So I'll keep this simple. I don't have any PowerPoint slides or anything. I think the advisors and all of you are already very well you know the program details very well. I just also wanted to first at the outset wanted to thank the advisors, because I've seen that your advisement has really helped to keep the students on the program track. And in my last meeting with you all, you took notes especially about the new courses, and that's something I would like to emphasize again, is about field internship courses in public health that we started offering just in past 1 year. There were 2 courses that were added in the list of electives. BI 526, a 2-credit bearing course, which is through biology department, field internship in public health. We had at least 8 students who completed the internship, and they got to work with big organizations like Northwell Health, the community aspect of Northwell Health. So it was great exposure to them. And actually, one of them ended up getting hired by Northwell Health. So, not only was good experience and exposure, they learned a lot working in the field, but Northwell Health actually hired them. And then some of the other students also participated in similar internship experiences in some local community organizations. I would like to emphasize this, however, that I do send out emails, and I'm sure you're talking to your students as well about these internship opportunities, but sometimes the students reach out too late. And while I am in contact with these organizations, I have to, they would like to see the resume, and they would like to see, they would like to interview the students. So I would need a little bit of help with that in getting the word out and informing the students that if they would like to do an internship, if even freshmen can be advised about this, because by the time, ideally, I want that these opportunities should not be given to freshmen, because they have to have some foundation in public health before they go to a community organization who's expecting them to help and support them in their in whatever programming that's there. But to have that word out in freshman year is helpful, so that they can reach out to me ahead of time. I coordinate these internship opportunities, and I supervise it from QCC from college, while they have a supervisor at the internship site also. So if I can prepare them towards that, if I can find the right opportunity, because I have to reach out to different organizations, and some of them have a smart spot ready for them right there and then, or someone may say it'll open up in 2 months. So now the student has a little bit of time to think about it and maybe take it up next semester. A lot of them also, especially if they're Spanish speaking students, there's a great need for Spanish speaking students. So it's really good for our Hispanic student population in public health degree program. So please continue to encourage students, talk about these internships, and especially I'm trying to connect this to career pathways. As you know, there is an emphasis on career pathways and introduction to career or job opportunities. And I'm trying to introduce it at every point in the program pathway. But internships are a great way to actually get this kind of experience, and then ultimately end up even getting employed. So that is about BI 526, field internship in public health. So majorly my meeting with you today is about me requesting you to support me in this endeavor. Health, physical education, and dance department has also come up with public health internship opportunities with the course number HE203. So reaching out to Dr. Salis or Dr. Parisa Sasi would be great, and students can reach out to them as well. While we are talking about this field internship in public health, I really would like to emphasize that research in a biology lab where they get exposed to different principles of biology relevant to public health, because not all the students are interested in becoming a health educator or a community health workers. Some of them are interested in going to CDC maybe in the future, or going for their masters in MSBH, which is more biology-based research, global health, environmental health. Then it is very important that they have exposure to research lab in context to public health. So we through biology department, we also offer another internship course, which is a research lab internship course, which is BI 554. Now, the course coordinators for these courses that's not me, because this BI 554 is open to students from other degree programs also. I see a lot of students in biology or biotechnology going for that research lab internship course, but I really don't see many public health students taking advantage of this opportunity. So I would really like you to speak to students about importance and value of also learning lab skills in public health. Because if you really think about some internship opportunities in Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, they have labs. They work with infectious diseases and other stuff, and our students, if they get exposed to that kind of research lab, those kind of research labs, or even in the biology department, we have some very good mentors over here who are doing research in areas related to public health. So I can always help them find a mentor over here if they're interested in research lab, and that is again a 2-credit lab course. So while learning their electives, they can still be involved with either of these internship experiences. So that's one point about internship, because I really want to encourage students to take advantage of these opportunities. It's really, in fact, an eye-opener or life-changing for them to really understand how to work in the field and make connections, and even for networking over there. The other thing is this, that I'm again very grateful. This time we were able to offer our BI 521 public health biology course on campus. Last 2 falls, we had to our students to take it via e-permit at Hunter because of lack of registration. So right now, the program is undergoing program review, and I'm leading that program review. We're expecting our external reviewer to visit us in next, maybe by November. And we know that there was a kind of, you would think that COVID would actually open the eyes to people about careers in public health or what public health professionals do. So we were hoping that more students would join this degree program, but it turns out our numbers actually fell after COVID. Now, so sometimes there are students who are undecided, and everyone is trying to go to more popular majors like nursing and health sciences. And they're totally unaware of public health component, which is also, it's not clinical, but it's about prevention. It is about diseases, whether chronic diseases or infectious diseases. It's just not only about health literacy or health education. It's also about research or dealing with diseases in terms of research directly. So, if you see that there are students who are undecided, or students really don't know about public health, while they would like to be in an area of healthcare, I think public health is a great, it's something that they can look into. So please encourage those students who are undecided, going for health sciences or nursing. And we know that all of them either don't get into nursing program or sometimes. So I'm not making public health as a fallback program, but something that they should really investigate and think if this could be of their interest. So with that being said, and coming back to majors, offering majors, BI 521 public health biology, again, give a heads up to students that BI 521 and BI 503, which is epidemiology, which these are majors required courses, and they are only offered in fall. I've had students who did not know that. And I'm like, you will have to wait to now graduate unless you're ready to take it with e-permit and Hunter. And that's not the ideal situation, because then it cut down on students who would be registering for the course on campus. And then we struggle to offer it, or I have to do it as an IND. My course load is already high. So then that becomes an issue. So I would really need your support and encouraging students in enrolling for the courses and looking at the course sequence, what is offered when. And one of the requirements of BI 521, public health biology, is that they should have completed a C or better on BI 201, which is general biology. So they should think of taking general biology in their second semester over here in case they don't succeed. And they have to improve their grades, or if they don't succeed, they have to take it one more time. They still have time to do that. Lastly, I will be offering BI 520. Of course, this is way ahead of time. We always offer it in summer as well. Now, this is a general education pathway course, scientific world. So, and then students also may get STEM waiver. We always don't know until the very end if they will get STEM waiver or not. But to keep that in mind, that, you know, they especially new students or general, those students who are looking for a general education pathway requirement in scientific world, they can think of taking this course in the summer as well. And that's all from me, because I just need your help more, and I appreciate that all the help that is extended to us in keeping these students on track. And I can already see it has greatly benefited our students, and it is making my life it's much easier. So thank you so much. And I'll take any questions if you have.
I think you explained everything very well, I guess.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
I think the advisors, I think the general consensus is we appreciate the acknowledgement for our work.
Oh,
And,
definitely.
just another example of a partnership with Advisement and an academic department. So it's appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah. William, one
Yes.
more thing. So I'm also the science liaison for John Jay College, the Criminal Justice Academy.
For the forensics?
Yes, forensics, computer
Okay.
science, biology, and some biology. So they have created this articulation agreement with cell and biology over there.
Right.
So we're going to hold a big information seminar on October 30th. I will share the flyer with you with the registration code. Please inform the students, reach out to them, encourage them to join this event on October 30th.
Okay.
So I'll send a follow-up email to you.
No, that'll be great. I think a lot of our students have, I mean, a lot of the advisors have students in that caseload. So would be great. We'll send it out.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. All right. We're going to move on to foreign languages, modern languages and cultures. Dr. Osorio.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Thanks for the invitation. I'm happy that you can hear me. I had problem before with the audio, but I see that you can hear me now.
Yeah, it's been an issue. What I've noticed is people had echoes, and what's happening is that some folks have left their mics on, so that causes feedback from what I saw. But it looks like we're okay now, so the floor is all yours. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. And also I see that the video is not working properly. I'm sorry for that issue. But I just want to mention one of the most important things for us is about the placement form. Every student that need to take class with in our department, they had to fill out the placement form. This is absolutely necessary for us. And it's one of the issues that we have every semester. That a lot of students, they are placed in the, for example, elementary class when they already know, let's say, Spanish, and they don't fill out the placement form. and we had to find out the right class for the students at the beginning of the semester. Sometimes we don't have the class for them, or the scheduling is not proper for the students, and it's a big issue. Then this is one of the main concerns for us. Right? Every student that is planning to take classes with the foreign language department, well, or now it's called modern language and cultures department, they had to fill out the placement as soon as possible. We always, winter time or summer time, we always review those placements in order to decide the proper class for the student. This is one of the main things that we have in our department. I don't know if you have any question about the placement. Another thing is about new classes that we are offering. This last year, we sent some new classes, and those classes were approved for the Senate. We have new classes at the 400 level. Is 401 Spanish, 402 Spanish, and 410 in Spanish. Those classes are more related to cultures. It's not about languages. We are moving to offer a lot of classes related to Hispanics, Latino, Latinx culture, and those classes are moving in that direction. Also, we have French 401 class that we are offering. We are offering Italian 401 class related to cinema, Italian cinema mostly. We planning to offer also Chinese 401 level class related with probably short stories in Chinese. And then this is new classes that we are offering. Those classes are attracting a lot of students, and we really appreciate if you let the student know that we have those classes for them. And those classes are part of the pathway. This is one of the important things that some students always ask. Those are part of the pathways. The new classes that we are offering have been approved by the Senate last semester, and also 2 classes that were approved on fall 2023. I don't know if you have any specific questions.
You have placement for what languages? Is there any languages that are being discontinued?
Yeah, that's another issue that we have. We are not going to offer German anymore. For this semester, unfortunately, we canceled the Arabic class because the low enrollment. We planning to offer again Arabic 111, Arabic 112 for springtime to see what happens if we attract students to run those classes. But at this moment, we canceled German. German, we are not going to offer German anymore. Then we have Arabic planning for spring. We have Chinese, Italian, French, and Spanish. Those are the languages that we are offering for our next spring 2025. Okay. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, that's great, because the placement, the student can figure it out online. They don't need to come to our department to fill out the form. They can do it online.
Okay, yep. Oh yeah, usually each cycle I try to get it over, so I'll send it out later on.
Great. Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
Then another thing I want to mention that we have a coordinator for the languages. For French, we have Professor Reeves. For Spanish, we have 2 coordinators, it's Professor Sanchez, Melida Sanchez, and Professor Carolina Chavez. Then for Chinese, it's Professor Wei Lei, that's our Chinese coordinator. And for the other languages, because Italian is so small, and Arabic, and I am, as a chairperson, I also the coordinator for those 2 languages, Arabic and Italian. And this is mostly what I want to say to you. I don't know if you have any specific questions. The new thing is the courses that we are offering. This one, and the other is the name of our department now is different. It's called Department of Modern Languages and Cultures. It was approved by the Senate on last May. And this is mostly the new thing that we have in our department. But as I say at the beginning of this talk, is that it's important that every student that planning to take classes with us, they have to have complete the placement form before we decide the class that they are going to take with us. And it's important to have this before we start the semester, because the student is placed in the wrong class. We had to remove the student for that particular class, and sometimes they don't find right schedule for them to take classes with us. And that way we lost students sometimes.
Okay, any questions?
Yes. With the placement and assessment, if there are no blocks or holes to prevent students from registering from the elementary level classes, that's what they may do. I know for myself, I always include the link and I show them how to do the placement, but students may say, I don't feel like going over there. I'll just register for elementary Spanish, even though I explain that if the placement is wrong, they picked the wrong class, they'll be moved. And sometimes when they're moved, they can't find a substitution and they may end up part-time, impacting their financial aid.
It will be great to have this as an option. Yeah, this is the problem that we find every semester. Students that they don't fill out the placement and they decide by themselves to register in an elementary class, even though they may know already Chinese or French or Spanish. And this is a big deal for us. And as soon as we find out that, we ask the student, we write to them, we call them, you have to fill out the placement. Sometimes they don't do at the beginning of the semester because they want to be in the class that is easy for them. But we remove the students. But it will be great if they cannot take the class if the placement is completed. And we have a specific place in CUNY first when we can place the information about the class that the student is allowed to take. But if we can do it, it's something that we cannot do it. But if CUNY or QCC can stop the student to take the class, if they don't fill out the placement form and we approve it, it will be great. It will save a lot of the issues that we have at the beginning of the semester in our department. I don't know if this is something that we can be solved in the near future. Maybe it's a question for William or for Michael. I don't know. But it will be great to have this solved.
Okay. Thank you for your response. Thank you.
No, thanks for your question. It's a great question. It's a big issue in our classes.
Mhm.
And the students are upset sometimes. They think that is our fault. But no, they had to fill out the form and we need to approve the right class for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I also mentioned following you, Andre, the comment that you had is that when the student find out that somebody in the class already knows the language and taking the class as an easy one for them, they are upset. They complain to us. They say, it's not
Yes.
right that I study like crazy, that I buy the book, that I attend the class, that I respect everybody here. And one student that knows the language already is sitting here, sometimes making fun of the way that we speak or the way that we write. This is a big issue. Sometimes we have problems, kind of confrontation between students for that particular reason.
Oh, I have a quick question. Are you offering any virtual placement appointments? So if a student needs placement, I know you did that maybe last semester or last year.
Yes, actually, this is one of the jobs that our coordinators are doing every semester. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. As soon as the student fill out the form, we receive it, and our secretary, we are happy now that we have somebody that is a full timer here helping us, administrative assistant. Then we contact the coordinator for that particular language, and the coordinator evaluate the placement. And if we need to call the student, we do that too.
Okay. All right. Is there any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Osorio. Really appreciate it.
I just want to
Sure.
say before I
Feel free.
say goodbye that thank you
We
for
have time. You have
yeah.
extra time, by the way. So
Okay.
please use it.
I see that 3 minutes. No, I
Okay.
want to say thank you to Michael Berdino for his help all the time when we had this kind of issues with the placement. Your help is really appreciated here in our department, and thanks to you also, William, and everybody that listen our concern. And have a good day.
Thank you very much. You too.
We really appreciate it, and it's nice. So you're the second department, so I'm glad that our efforts are getting back to faculty in a positive way. Just shows that we're committed to the students.
No, it's great that, for example, at the beginning of this semester, some of the advisor came here with the students, and then it's a great help because it's one way to avoid to lose students, and it helps us a lot. And we were happy to see some advisor with the students here. It's like taking a student in order that they really take the classes that they belong to. Arthur has a question.
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you. It's not really a question. It just goes back to what you were saying before about the fundamental courses. If you guys can request that the registrar put a prerequisite requirement on them, that would help. So for example, when you do a placement for, let's say, Spanish 221, the system checks for that in order to be able to let the student enroll. So you could do the same thing for LS 111, LC 111, and all of the others.
Yeah, it would be great that Register do something like this. It will help a lot to our department. We cannot do it. Yeah.
But you would have to reach out to them. Unfortunately, that wouldn't be something that we can do. It would have to come from the department.
Okay, great. That's a good suggestion. We have to do that. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I guess if there's no more questions, what I think we should do at this time, since we're moving ahead, is take a 5-minute break because this is a long session. So I think it's good to break this up, and then we can pick up, I'd say, in about 5 to 10 minutes with our Professor Manzo.
Thank you for your attention. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, sorry, I just thought I was jump in here. It's Nathaniel
Sure.
Sullivan from Art and Design. I was wondering if the slot was still there at 1:50.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. I looked over it. Never mind.
Well, you can have a break. I just want to make sure I get in there because I got a few
Yeah,
things.
no, absolutely. I'm sorry. I
No
was
worries.
going because I didn't see you on the attendee list. I'm sorry, on the Zoom list. I
Okay.
was assuming you were coming in a little bit later. Okay. Just give us like 2 minutes and then we can
Yeah,
start.
of course. Yeah,
Thank
5
you.
minutes, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Professor Sullivan, I think we can get going.
Okay, great.
You should have you should be able to share your screen. Should
Yep.
be good to go.
Sweet. I will do so. Okay. All right. So a couple of things. I'll put up our slide here for the required courses. There hasn't been much change in that, although we've done a few curriculum changes over the past year that are now in effect. So I just want to make you aware of that. But I guess the latest news is we worked out an articulation agreement between Queens College and our digital art program into their design BFA. So that happened over the summer. Everybody signed off on it, and it should be either in effect. It should be in effect immediately. But I think our students will really see that difference coming in the as they transfer over at the end of spring. So what it essentially does, though, is knock off about a semester or sometimes two of their experience at Queens. We've managed to create articulations between certain courses, direct transfers over for certain courses. Some of it was really out of date, so we had to kind of go back and comb through, and hopefully those changes are now being reflected in T-Rex. I know there's some delay sometimes, but the goal was to make the transfer to our main feeder school, their design BFA, much more seamless for our students. So we're glad to announce that, and glad to have that behind us. So it wasn't, it took a lot of back and forth, but it was something worth doing. And also we've over the past year, we've come upon a donation, which was really nice. And we've got some new building and a couple new courses to tell you about as well too, some elective courses. So the new course is a 3D animation and modeling class. I know I mentioned something about this last spring, but it's going to be on the books for the spring semester, listed as an IND class, and it'll be capped at 10 students. The prerequisite will be 192 digital animation, just so they have some background in motion and movement and building characters. Most students will be building characters. And then also with the 3D printing, we have a new 3D lab we've just built over the summer. And I'm excited to show you that as well too. I got some images for you. But so that came from the donation, and also a faculty member that we've had for 8 years now, but whose specialty is in 3D fabrication and animation as well too. So finally really using all of his skills within our department. There is significant interest in a course like this because I think a lot of people consume 3D animation, right? But it is specifically designed for students who can bear a little bit more, I guess, rigor. And so we're capping it at 10 because it's, again, room size, but also the difficulty of the subject matter. And so we can really focus on the projects, but also because we anticipate there being needing to be, like, at least at the start, a faculty oversight in terms of who registers for it, and that they can bear some of the technical brunt and the conceptual brunt of the course. So we're excited to launch that. So the changes that I mentioned, I just wanted to mention that we because Professor Lin and I share the digital animation and motion graphics classes, and I do video as well, but they're kind of all connected. We wanted to keep the video class pretty open in terms of prereqs. There's no prereqs there, but we did want to sequence the digital animation and the motion graphics so that students take 192 digital animation first, and then they take motion graphics. And then also to put up a prereq for our 192 with either being the digital imaging course 291 or the first sequence of digital design 1 arts 290. Sorry, it's a typo there. I should say 290. But yeah, that's our prereqs for that, just so that our students are taking that in sequence. and they're not getting repeats. What I found in the motion graphics is I was teaching people basic After Effects things, and sometimes students were also taking both at the same time. So they were taking like 8 hours of After Effects, which is a lot to ask a student to go through in a semester. So we wanted to space them out, but also have, because we're so aligned, be able to kind of sequence students through and from basics to more advanced concepts. Okay. The other couple of changes just to mention is that our digital students only have 5 electives available, 5 credits of electives. So we wanted to free them up to take digital photography. So we removed the analog photography class as a prereq for digital photography. So they can take that if they want, no prereq. And then also we're at the addition of the recommended electives. There's our 3D animation class as well. Here's some images of the lab. So the new lab we built has basically a dedicated open student lab. So one of the needs we found is like not everyone has a laptop or a system at home that can handle what we do, what we ask them to do. But pandemic wise, people did upgrade, but not everyone. Some people like to work at school, surprisingly enough. So just freeing up one dedicated lab, always open to students, Monday to Friday, mostly 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. The only exception to that is it's only open 1 to 6 on Wednesdays, but a lot of lab hours, open lab hours. The systems, there's 2 animation stands, so down shooters. There's 5 brand new Mac stations in there. We have the Syntec boards as well for drawing. So and the seating actually, which I advocated for specifically because some of our students are sitting for 8 hours at a time on a computer. So there's some ergonomic chairs there, as you can see. In addition to that, we've received a Perkins grant to hire some TAs. So there'll be a lab assistant. There's 3 actually that they're going to cycle through. They're recent graduates of our program. So we're really excited. And actually in the back there, you can see Fabiana's one of them. She's a fabulous video and animation student we've had who's now at Hunter in her 4th year at Hunter. So going into her last year at Hunter. And then the other 2 are also recent graduates. Maggie's from Queens and Michelle graduated last spring as well too. So we're excited to have them in, and they'll be available Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that was available through a Perkins grant that our chair Kathy applied for. The other thing we have is Michelle's been hired as a student success advocate, and so her hours are kind of floating, but right now she's consistently here at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's just somebody to be a kind of someone who's very close in age and in experience to a student, just to be there to answer questions, not only to tutor, but also to kind of talk about her experiences within the program too. So we're trying to create sort of like touch points for students that are not just faculty, not just admin, not just advisors, not just, all of the services we do provide, which are great, but someone really close to their experience as well too. So we're excited to have those 3 on board as well. Here's a picture of the up close of the lab, the 3D printers and a cutter. And there's the whole lab with it on the left there. Another touch point just to talk, if you have students that are interested in enrolling in the art program, wondering what goes on over here in the C building, throughout October, we're having movie screenings at 2 p.m. on Thursdays. So this week, the screening is Lisa Frankenstein with snacks and movie screening, discussion afterwards. Oftentimes that does draw in people from outside of our program. Which is nice. People just wanting to chill out with our students and ask them about their experiences and maybe enroll in a couple of our classes too. So if you know anybody who's sort of interested in the arts, you want to send them our way. A great way to meet other art and design students and get a sense of the programs is just to attend one of these screenings. So those are at Thursdays, October, all through October. The next one is this Thursday at 2 p.m. And that is about it. Any questions or anything about the sequencing or anything to?
Well, I think we have it covered.
Okay.
If you if the course sequencing, if you have any documentation for that, or the PowerPoint, feel free to send that to me.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
you got it.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks for waiting a little bit too.
Of
Appreciate
course.
it.
No worries. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Okay. So we're gonna move ahead with Professor Manzo. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So let me just share my screen.
Sure.
I don't think that worked. Let me try one more time. Oh, here it
There you
is.
go.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay, so thank you for inviting me. I'm Christina Manzo from the business department. So I wanted to just talk. We know we have 5 degrees in our program. We have our AS in forensic accounting, which is a dual joint with John Jay. We have our AS in business administration, which also has a Baruch Business Academy and a fully online program. Our AS in computer information systems, and then we have 2 AASs in accounting and 1 in management marketing. Even though the medical assistant program is no longer in the business department, but our students do take those classes, so I include that in here also. So what I want to focus on today is really some of the newer programs that we have, which are the Baruch Business Academy, our fully online program, and then the AS in computer information systems, since previously it used to be an AAS. And I know last time I was here, there were some questions regarding that. So I'll start with Baruch Academy. So we have the Baruch Business Academy. It's a dual joint, even though they don't call it a dual joint, but it's a dual joint. When students are in this program, they are automatically admitted into Baruch and into the Zicklin School of Business. But the only way they can do that is they have to meet these qualifications. So they have to graduate with the AS in Business Administration, and they have to have a minimum GPA of a 2.5 or better. Also in their business courses, they have to have a 2.3 or better. To enroll in the program, the students, they have to be, as I said, they have to graduate, they have to be a BT major. So they have to be a BT major, and they cannot have no more than 24 earned credits at the time that they apply. If the student is not a BT major, then they should only have less than 15 earned credits. When students are interested in the program, they can search up Baruch Academy, and there's an interest form that they fill out, and they will be contacted by Baruch. The curriculum for the Baruch Business Academy is very similar. It's not the same, but it's similar to the curriculum for our BT program. So I just want to highlight what is different. So in the Baruch Academy, they need to take SP 217. They also need, in our regular program, they can take either Econ 101 or 102. For the Baruch Academy, they need to take both. So we have the Econ 102 in the flexible core. In addition, in the past, Baruch used to require that they have the calculus, but they no longer require the calculus, so they can come over with the Math 440. Okay, then the other one, our other pretty new program is our fully online program. So for students to get into the fully online program, it's also the business transfer program. They can apply as a freshman. On the CUNY application, there's an option for them to apply for the AS online degree. Now, if they are a current Queensborough student, and these are the ones I think we would see the most, they have to have not earned more than 30 credits. If they have more than 30 credits, we don't allow them into the program. And the fact that it's a fully online program, they should be in good academic standing, which means they should have a 2.0 GPA or better. Another thing that's really important for these students to know is that we do have an articulation agreement with the School of Professional Studies for this online degree. So when students finish this online degree, they can transfer into the School of Professional Studies for their BS program in business, which is also a fully online program. And so the contact and the lead persons for the program in the advisement area, it's Natalie, and in our department, it's Dr. Sakar. Okay, the next thing I want to just cover quickly is our Computer Information Systems AS program. So this is just a little chart showing the difference of what changed from the AAS to the AS. So what you'll notice is that the courses are more or less the same. The only thing that's different is that, of course, in an AS program, they're required to take more of that Common Core. So what happened here, the math has changed where they had more options before in the math. Now it's either 114 or the 119 and the 121. Up here in the core, in their flexible core, they have to take the CIS 102, which before was a required course in the major, and then the math 128. Before, other required courses were the BU 203 and the CIS 251. And so these courses now are over here as elective classes. Okay, and then lastly, I just want to talk a little bit about our BU 600. So BU 600, oh, is that for me that you can't see anything? I don't know. Okay. The BU 600 is our business internship class. That class kind of went out after COVID, and so we're bringing it back. We brought it back this semester. We have a small amount of students that are enrolled in the class, but it's an elective class for students that are in our business administration program. For students to enroll in the class, they need to have a minimum GPA of a 2.5, and they should have 30 credits or more, or they can come to the department and get permission from the department. So it's open to all students, actually all business majors, and it's also available to students that are in our the medical office assistant program, be it the AAS or in the certificate program. Okay, and that's what I have for today. Any questions on any of the programs?
Okay.
No questions? Okay.
No, it's everything's been explained very well this afternoon, apparently. If you have any copies of the sequences or anything like that, or the PowerPoint that you'd like me to share, just feel free to send it to me, okay?
Okay, sure. Okay. All right.
Because I think to have some documentation, or if it's on the website, I know with any updates or anything like that, because I know a lot of departments are doing that right now.
Yeah, most of the things are on the website, and also there's a degree maps in there. 'Cause I know somebody was asking me about the sequential order of the courses. If you look under the program, the degree maps are there where you could actually see what it is and what we recommend that they take.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we're gonna jump ahead. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
We're gonna jump ahead, and since we're moving a little bit earlier, some of the faculty that were supposed to speak are coming on earlier. So if I could see Professor Vanderhorn Gibson, are you there? Yep.
I am here. Yep, I'm here.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me just get into slideshow mode.
Sure.
Maybe. Uh-oh. There we go. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jody Vanderhorn Gibson, and I am an associate professor in the CTMP department. We've abbreviated because it's so long. And this is my first semester taking over from Dr. Franca Ferrari, who served as the communication program director for many, many years, back when we first were calling it speech communication, and we only had like 3 or 4 classes in the program. So this is my first time presenting to you all. So hopefully I make some semblance of sense. You'll let me know if I don't. And hopefully I can answer questions. If not, I will most certainly find the answer and get back to you. So within the CTMP department, we have communication, we have theater, and we have media production. Within theater and media production, there is a little bit more nuance with what the students can take. With the communication concentration, however, there is far less. It's just really within the liberal arts and science academy or program. Are they still called academies? I'm not sure if they're still called academies. And so within the liberal arts and science associate of art degree, they can concentrate in communication studies. And one of the things that we focus on with the communication studies concentration really is sort of everyday life skill development. And I say that not in any way to disparage other disciplines, but one of the things that we try to preface is that there is such real world applicability when you study communication, when you study sort of how do we get along well with others, how do we communicate better, how do we develop our own skills in terms of our interpersonal development, our intercultural development. We, on the last couple of years, have developed classes in phonetics, in like speech therapy, and then more of a focus with some professional type of communication classes. So within the concentration, as you'll see in a second when I get to the slide with all of our classes, there are some areas of focus, but there aren't tracks. It's still just a communications concentration. But within all of those classes, regardless of what the student might want to focus on, we really are concentrating on communicating, thinking, and solving problems critically. And the idea that when you learn better communication skills, one that is wonderful for personal enrichment, interpersonal enrichment, but that also then translates into your professional, into your academic, and then ultimately into your career pursuits. The communication professor who can't speak right now. So a couple of things that there's lots and lots of research. And I actually use ChatGPT because I just think like the students use it. So I wanted to check it out and see what it said about why we should study communication. So there's lots of research out there. I went to the Communications Association's website, but you have to have like access to log in as a member. So that link wasn't necessarily going to be useful for us. But just some general places or general areas in which studying communication can really be a good thing for people. So again, like just career success. Like one of the things I always say to my students is, it doesn't matter what you do, unless you move to the mountains, live as a hermit, you have to talk to people. You always have to talk. You always have to communicate. It doesn't matter what career you are in. And so that's like kind of a fundamental rationale for studying communication. Like none of the students, well, I can't say none, rarely do I get a student or do we get students like, yay, I get to take speech class. But one of the things we try to preface again is that what you're learning here, you can take and apply in terms of getting that job or, developing that relationship. Like I said, critical thinking is at the root of all of the classes that we teach. We try to really stress the idea that as just human agents, we really need to learn how to trouble better the information that we receive on a daily basis. And then as we are learning how to better communicate our own thoughts, communicate our own perspectives and opinions, we can do that from a more sifted through critical position rather than just, well, it was on the internet, so it must be true. We also stress active listening, like communication. We listen so much more than we talk. And so we do talk a lot about listening in interpersonal, in intercultural. We very much talk about the responsibility that we have in the communication process of just being good listeners, like not listening to wait for my turn, but rather like really listening to receive information to be able to connect with people in whatever space that you might find yourself. In communication too, we talk about ethical behavior, specifically within intercultural communication. For example, we talk a lot about personal positioning, learning how to communicate across spaces of difference, and tools and ideas and concepts. Like, for example, in my intercultural class, after this, I'm going to class to finish talking about culture and emotion. And we had this very rigorous conversation on Monday about gender prescription within emotional behavior. So it's it can be very, very interesting when the students like really start connecting to how this makes sense in their own lives. And then also just studying communication for mental and physical health, right? So there's so much more conversation anymore, just in the sort of zeitgeist that we live in, of the importance of mental health and focusing on self-care. And communication really is a part of that, being able to formulate your thinking and then identify your thinking and then articulate your thinking and communicate that message in a way that is both effective as well as appropriate to like whatever setting. And then as sort of our mind and our mental health goes, so does our physical health. So there's a lot of research that suggests effective communication can really be a physiological boon to people in their lives. So a couple of things with our concentration. We have a bunch more classes than we used to. A bunch, definitely one of those academic words. But we have 2 classes that are required, which is for the concentration, which is SP 211, speech communication, which I think, I don't want to say all, but I think many students take that within that one bucket. And then SP 101, Introduction to Communication Studies. So those are the 2 classes that all people who want to focus on communication studies have to take. And then there is this list of 7 other classes that now they have options, right? So like when we first started, we had 211 and 101, and then we had 212 and 213, and then we were trying to develop 214, and in communication with the business department of like, how can this kind of a class both suit people studying communication as well as like provide support to things that, that they're learning within, say, a business setting. Then we had Franca worked tirelessly on developing the speech pathology component, which is the phonetics and the language science, linguistics. Oral performance for the actor and speaker is a kind of more performative class. It leans a lot more into, say, theater, or it's a creative expression class, so that also makes sense. And then the same thing for voice and speech. So depending on what the student is interested in, if they're looking and interested in, say, a broader, less like liberal arts experience, 211, 101, 212, and 213 are like a perfect combination for them, where they're really learning about their own set, their own way of communication, as well as communicating across spaces of difference. Communication in a professional setting. We do have, and I'm going to go to my last slide, we do have business communication, which is slightly different than communication in a professional setting. But for students who maybe want to focus more on business, but are wanting to like still develop their communication skills, communication in a professional setting is a class where they learn how to like kind of do interviews, where they learn how to create a resume. So there's a lot of sort of role play within, like, how do we operate? Do I wear my pajamas to an interview? Can I wear my slippers to an interview? So like stuff like that, where it's just, things to help them just to be functioning better in those spaces. Whereas business communication itself is looking at things like, how do I learn how to communicate within like hierarchical business structures, for example? How do I function within these different systems? So even though the 101 and the 211 are classes that tend, like, everybody who wants to major, or I always lose if I'm supposed to say major or just concentrate. in our concentration, which seems derivative. So, but between interpersonal, intercultural, the business classes, the phonetics classes, there's kind of a range of things within that, even though there is that only that one track, but there are different areas of interest, you know, for people who want to say be speech pathologists. Focusing on that phonetic and that language science and linguistics is a great beginning place for them. We do have articulations with Baruch and Brooklyn College for communication. And so there again, you know, you get through the program and then you just sort of continue on track in one of those two schools, depending on which way you want to go. We do have one sort of, it's not, you know, remedial or anything like that because we don't have that anymore, but we do have speech 7, which is a placement referral class. And usually we get people from the nursing department who take that class, who enroll in that. So they come to the department, they take a speech test, basically, where they read a prescribed, like, you know, short paragraph, and then the academic or the administrative assistants, they then do all the paperwork for that. And then if there is a referral needed for speech placement into this class for people who need more support before they go into 101 or 211, or typically speaking, it's a referral from the nursing department where they need to pass this speech exam in order to, you know, fully get into the nursing department. So that's really the communication concentration. Our most popular class, I think, is probably intercultural communication. We're running 3 sections of that in the spring. Interpersonal, I think we typically have 1 or 2 sections of that, but then again, I'm sure you've all seen SP 211, and I can't tell you how many times I've heard my students say, I don't know, my advisor signed me up for it. So these are, you know, different options if people are interested in further pursuing communication studies. Any questions?
That was a lot to take in.
Yeah, I know.
No, but this is great. I'm glad that you're taking over. You have big shoes to fill with Professor
I know.
Ferrari.
I know. She's awesome. She's really awesome, but she needed to not do it anymore. So
Yeah.
I will. I'm on a strict learning curve for sure.
Well, welcome to your first training, like I said over email.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there any questions for Professor Vanderhorn? Okay.
Okay, well then I'm going to thank you and say goodbye. I've got to go run to my intercultural class, talk about emotion.
Well,
All
thanks
right.
for jumping in early. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much. No
okay.
worries. No
You're
worries.
welcome.
All right.
We're going to move over to physics. Okay. I know Dr. Armendariz is here and Dr. Tabu. Hello. Good afternoon.
Professor Mendes, should I go first?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I hope everyone is doing well. My name is Rex Taibu, Associate Professor in the Physics Department. This semester, I assumed the role as an engineering program coordinator. So I do a lot of work there to help our students go through the engineering programs smoothly. All right, so I'll start by a brief story that happened in summer this year. In summer, whilst I was in my office, a student came to my office, and he was taking Physics 202. He approached me and said, Professor, is this the right class to take in order to be in engineering science program? So I said, wait a minute. So this is 202, you took 201 already? Yeah, I did that. Okay, that's right. And then I sat down with a student and explained to him that in order to major in engineering science, you need to take the following courses. And this is the difference between engineering science and the engineering technology. Now, after I explained everything, I shared a document with the student explaining the difference between engineering science and engineering technology. The students seemed to be devastated He was like, how come I didn't know all this? So I was like, well, I don't know. I'm sorry for that. But he was kind of worried that he should have known this information before he studied 201 and then going on to physics 202. Yeah, so starting from there, I said, okay, maybe we should check with our faculty members here. Maybe at the beginning of the semester, we should be sharing the document to our students. That shows the difference between engineering technology and engineering science. So we've started doing that this semester, but also we have included a link on physics 201 where students register, so that before they register physics 201, they should be aware of the differences between engineering science and engineering technology. So I'm not sure right now why students will be able to see when they try to register for physics 201 or 202. So I wanted to know from your end, from the advisement team, if the students can see this information, but also what else maybe we are doing to help our students actually make a good choice, a right choice without maybe spending most of their time taking classes that are not needed. Yeah, like that. So it looks like kind of a long story. It goes through so many stages that we can help our students to make sure that before they jump into our classes, they are in the right class. So I'd like to share, if possible, quickly the document that we created. So
Sure,
I
please
can
do.
share that. Okay. All right. I think this one.
And you had a question if this link was seen by students,
Yes. Yes.
like if they register. Not that we know of. I've never seen the document that you're about to show. So I think it's good moving forward. And then if you maybe work as a faculty advisor or liaison, we can, you know, like I did mention to the department, you know, 2 advisors that specialize with this, so we can, you know, work together, making a, you know, to address these concerns.
All right. Are you able to see my the document?
Yes.
It shows engineering versus engineering technology.
Rex, you're showing the wrong document.
Oh, really? That's the email, right? Or maybe I have to be here. How about now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I have 2 screens. Sorry about that. All right. So
Oh,
here.
this is good. We need this.
Okay. Yeah. So we have, especially look at the yellow requirements, the course requirements. For engineering science, they need a PH 421, PH 422, and CH 151. And the PH 201 is right here for those who are majoring in engineering technology. PH 201 and PH 202 is right here. So most of the confusion comes here. They join PH 201 and 202, thinking that they'll end up being engineering science majors. So I don't know how this happens all the time. I'm always puzzled. The incident I just mentioned, it happened in summer, but it happens actually quite a lot. It's just frequent. It's very frequent actually. So I don't know how we can help these students. Maybe they just want to change along the way. I don't know. Maybe we miss them somewhere. I don't know. Maybe there's anything we can do. I don't know right now. I just feel sorry for them when they have spent a lot of time going through 201, 202 without knowing what they want to end up being. Yep. Professor Amendres, would you like to add something?
Well, just briefly, I remember last year when we had the meeting with that Mr. Duke organized with the advisors. At that time, the two of the advisors did say that they were advising students who were who wanted to be engineers but didn't have strong math. They couldn't start with math 441 or math 440 because they had to take math, algebra. So the advisors did say that they were advising those students whose math was weak to try engineering technology instead of engineering science, because then they could start with math 114, which is a lower math level than math 440 or 441. And the advisors did say that they were under the impression that if a student gets an AAS degree in engineering technology, that they could become engineers. I think that's one of the areas where the problem is occurring. Because in fact, when you get a degree in engineering technology, you cannot become an engineer per se. It's possible to become like a building engineer or an MTA engineer. There are many types of job titles that are considered engineer, like a building engineer. But that's different than an electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, computer engineer. And it seemed to Professor Guo and I last year when we had the meeting with the advisors that this is one of the areas of confusion, is the majority of students that we find in our Physics 201 and 202 that Professor Taibu is referring to, those are students who intended to become engineers, like electrical engineers or mechanical or civil, not a building engineer or an MTA engineer, which would only possibly require a 2-year AAS degree. So I believe that was where we left off last year when we attended this advisors workshop. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for clarifying that, because I think a common misconception, or like you said, with the engineering terminology, that's being used loosely when it's not as specific as it should be. So I think this document would help.
Right, thank you. What did you, sorry, you mentioned about, I mean, the idea we had was to link this link here together with the course descriptions for PH 201 and PH 202. So I'm not sure, you mentioned something about this. Can you come again on that? Is this possible? Is it feasible? Can it help?
Oh yeah, that's already, it's Dean Pullen already had this document, the link to this document attached to the syllabus for Physics 201 and Physics 202 on the web page, on the QCC webpage, Department of Physics. So anyone looking at Physics 201 or Physics 202 course descriptions will see this. Well, there'll be a link to this document.
Right. I think Dr. Tabu already sent it to me, so I can share that with the staff after we're done.
Yeah, but I was thinking about when they are registering. I don't know, do they even read the course description? I was thinking about the student's point of view.
Probably not in the course description. That's a good idea. That's a good question. So it's something that we would have to give to the students and present head on to prevent, what's been going on.
Okay. All right, that's it.
Okay. Any questions for physics? Okay. Well, this, like I said before, the document's going to be very helpful. So I think moving forward, we'll have more success when it comes to translating between the two majors. Thank you so much for your continued contributions from the physics department. I appreciate that. We're going to move on next to nursing. Dr. Reichert, are you there?
I am, and so I'm here with Rita too, office assistant. Hello, everybody.
Hello, welcome.
I was really fortunate. I had a meeting with Gail and Michelle to give me a little preface to all the concerns everyone had. So that was really great. So I can fill you in on new things. Do you want me to start? Does anyone have questions first, or just start?
Please start, and then questions we can have afterwards.
Okay, great. New updates to our curriculum. Basically, we are starting evening programs year-round, beginning in spring of 25. We're starting with a small group of 3 clinical groups, 24. We have joined partners with Northwell to a nursing expansion grant, for which we're expecting, quite a few applicants. What that's about is that Northwell is taking their non-patient role healthcare employees to encouraging them to become nurses in a time specific. They have to be done by 2028. And we were chosen, I think I mentioned it last time we met, I'm not sure. We were chosen to be one of the programs that the students would enter. And so you'll be seeing those students, they'll be part of our evening program, and their clinicals will be on site at Northwell. There's also, there's been a big focus on the nursing shortage, that's expected to really hit us heavily within the next 2 years. So a lot of grants have been put out to spur the growth of nursing. If we had the capacity to handle it, that would be great. But we're kind of short on space. So what we did do, we increased enrollment numbers the past 2 semesters. Last semester was 88, which is the highest for us. Our pass rates have been still great, 100% last semester on the NCLEX. But then going back to the grants, 1199 received a grant for the advancement of LPNs. So if you guys recall, we do have an LPN advanced placement, which we kind of reignited last semester. And now it's becoming more popular where they're recruiting LPNs to become RNs. So you'll be seeing some of those students. We have 3 coming in to apply for this semester in the spring. Grading policy has not changed yet. Our ELOA has not changed yet. Our course prerequisites have not changed. What Gail and Michelle did bring up was an error in the course catalog, which I'm going to address, is that there's no expiration date for the anatomy and physiology, and I apologize. So based upon my conversation with Gail and Michelle, I was able to update some website issues that we have that we just put out, and I can show you them in a second if you'd like. So that was an error, and the micro expires in 5 years, so that I just needed to confirm with needing. I think some of you guys were concerned that the new NEXT exam, we have the PACS was the entrance exam before, and the NEXT is the new exam, which is now being proctored. Can I share the screen?
Yes.
So this is coming your way. Oh, my things were open. Here. These are just like a little, I can make this better for you, but I know you wanted, we're posting this on our Blackboard site, but the minimum next score that we would require is a 138 composite. I'm seeing from other school reports and all, the students get up to high as 300. So I'm still investigating that, but we were told by the NLN that 138 would be a safe composite score. We'd like a 64, 62, and 60. These are going to be posted on the website. I can share this with you as well. They can retake the next after 30 days. Right now, it's only been given online through a proctoring 360 company. And there's very specific rules, which we put the link here for, but just to give you a heads up, we did have 2 students complain that it was very invasive. They felt, but it is detailed on the proctoring site, how deep, how much they go in depth. They go under the desk, they don't allow paper. They go all over the room of the students, so they should be prepped on that, but we are putting that on the website. They cannot use any paper. They have to use a dry erase whiteboard for exam integrity purposes, and they can only use a 4-function calculator, not an experimental calculator. So that was that. For dual joint, just you guys have a heads up. I believe Gail felt this was important. We're going to put down the requirement. An overall is 3.0 and a course grade of B-. That's what the dual joint partners of Hunter, SBS, and York are looking for. And as far as our surgical techs, it's important that that's a bridge program that was piloted last semester. with Memorial Sloan Kettering and Hospital for Special Surgery. And last semester wasn't that clear about the acceptance, but just again, putting this on the website, we're going to clarify that they have to be accepted into the nursing program. And once accepted, they can get credit for NU 110, which is their work credit for prior learning. And then they'll take a bridge course based upon their acceptance into the nursing program. And that's the NU 111. They must successfully pass that to progress to 102. So that's kind of the newest update. Last semester, all 7 passed 111, and that was not an issue. But when they got to 102, you know, they didn't do as well as they expected. So right now I've added resources and purchased products to help. So with surgical techs are great. They've been involved with patients and all that good stuff, but they don't know how to think like a nurse. So we're going to introduce that for this bridge and see how it goes. I'm also going to be sitting or meeting with each of the surgical tech applicants and reviewing their, you know, the grades and the GPA and all to see if they might be better off taking 101 to promote success there. And I think that's all I have to report. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. Oh, to avoid any confusion, can the prospective nursing student website be updated to reflect the new, hold on, I will. The new year-round, yes, I was just talking to Nicole about that. She's in charge of our website. She said she placed it there, but we really need to make that very clear. On the application, it does say evening when they're applying, but you know, I'm wondering how many are going to apply for evenings if that wasn't on the website. So I appreciate that, John. Thank you. Anybody else? I know you're doing a great job. I know it's hard. What I am trying to do, I spoke to Needy and to Andrea about coming up with something that can guide students if they don't get into the nursing program. All the different health and all the healthcare options that are available through our school. So that's what I'm going to try to come up with, and I can get that for you as well in case you know they have a reference if that's helpful. If you think that's helpful. Are you guys there?
Yeah, we're here. I'm just waiting to see if there was any other questions. Usually there's with nursing specifically. Okay. Here we go.
Yes, the dual joints still require MA 336 and 1127. Yes. So that is really part of the dual joint student's degree. You know, I believe SPS will let them take M336. SPS will let them
ask for that. SPS.
wants it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
SPS, they ask.
They want it. I'm waiting to hear back from Hunter. I was wondering, I thought chemistry was okay, but they really would like it. They do need it before they go.
Yeah, they need it.
Yeah, yes.
Quick question. I guess I've seen this scenario a couple of times in my own professional experience. Transfer student comes in with Math 440, which is the pre-calculus. Would you still have them take the 336?
Do you want to see 440? Would it be equivalent acceptable for 336? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Well, I haven't had that question
No,
yet.
we didn't have that. We need to ask admission, Michelle. We asked to Michelle.
And what is M440 again?
Because we've had transfer students that are career changers. Okay. So, when they're going in for so for example, someone with a business degree, so a lot of them might have bachelor's already, and then they want to come and take the prerequisites if they haven't taken it and then get into nursing. So we've had a few of those cases over the years.
So maybe I'll have a conversation with the math chairperson. Would that be helpful?
Sure.
I think it's more to the licensing and to the transfers is what he's trying to explain. Sorry, this is Arthur from Academy Advisement.
Hi, everybody.
Hey Rita, how are you?
Happy birthday. Though I've been doing this for 2 semesters, I'm still very,
Well,
we are learning together.
yeah.
So that I know that we spoke with Michelle. It's depend on the college. It's depend of many different points. So that's why is they have to go through the evaluation from admission.
Yeah, I think what Will is trying to ask is if a student,
I'll speak to the other CUNY nursing programs too and see what they suggest.
Yeah, we need to.
they want statistics from my experience. The other schools like Adelphi or any of the other senior colleges want statistics. That's why we have it as an alternative, from my understanding, to Math 119. But I think what Will is trying to say is, will the dual joint accept pre-calculus instead of statistics?
Okay, I can reach out to them. That's easy.
We can ask
I thought it had to be
Mr.
approved or something.
Mr.
Okay, good.
Haitian.
No, it's not by us. It's more of like, it's more of a question for transfer. From my understanding that the senior colleges want statistics because of the, what's it called? They learn how to read and understand probability. So when it comes to articles and things of that, journal articles and things of that nature, they understand the testing.
That makes sense.
So that's usually why, yeah,
I will ask.
thank you.
Oh, it's chemistry 151 in place of 127. I don't know the difference. Happy if you could explain that to me, but I could look into that for you. Chem 157 versus 127.
So 127 is intro to general health, is intro to inorganic. So it's basically chemistry 151 and 152 combined and watered down. It's like an entry level. It's a 1 semester course compared to 151 and 152 that goes more in depth. So I think this is again due to the dual joint nature. I think it's more of a question for the dual joint schools, not necessarily directly we can answer that. But in my experience, from what I remember, other schools did accept 151 instead of 127. But 151 also has a prerequisite of college algebra and trigonometry. For the average nursing students, they only need college algebra to go into statistics if they were going to do that.
Okay.
So it just became a more complex course for them to take.
All right, great. I'll find out about that as well, and I'll give it back to Will and he can share.
SPS. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for all you're doing for our students too. I know it's it's tough to understand. I'm still trying to understand it all myself, but yes, we'll have those updates for you. I think Nicole is putting all that in. And if things come up and you have questions and things you want to bring clarity, I do feel the website needs to be cleaned up a bit more, quite a bit more. But it's a work in progress and we are working on it.
So
Even the schedule, I really wanted to post a schedule. I think when I met with you last time, so you have an idea of what it would look like across the course. Of course, I didn't get to that. We got a little swamped, but it is on my agenda for this semester.
On the website, would there be a possibility to also add information about the admissions appeal? Because I don't believe that's on the website. The nursing admissions appeal.
Absolutely. And so they go to you guys if they get denied from us. Is that correct?
Well, that's the thing, is that they know that we tell them like, hey, you have to do an appeal. They're like, so what's on the appeal exactly? And we tell them basically what we know is that provide a personal statement with any supporting documentation as to why you're asking them to look at your second grades instead of your first ones, essentially.
Okay. Yes, I will definitely do that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. I guess you guys do know that it's not written, but we do want our students to take I think it's microbiology before they come to 101, because in the past we've had a lot of failures and when they were taking it jointly. I know it's written as a prerequisite in the catalog, but I believe students that are taking 311 are prioritized in the admission process. So you know that. Okay, good. It's for their own selves, so they for success. Yeah.
Also, I mean, there's another question here from Matthew. Thank you, Matthew. Can a student take chemistry 151 in place of chemistry 127? So I guess that's similar to what you need to talk about with math, I'm assuming.
Yes, yes. Arthur just talked about that a few minutes ago with me and told me it's explained a little bit. So I will reach out to dual join for that. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Matthew.
Okay. All right. All right.
I
Go ahead, Arthur.
I was gonna say, does Elizabeth still work with the dual join programs?
She does, but Rita's kind of taken over a lot.
Yeah, Elizabeth Matras. Yeah, we're working together now.
Together.
Okay.
Had to be a
Nice, yeah.
lot for her, so Rita's kind of taken over. She's actually doing a great job. She's reminding students that maybe didn't apply that were eligible and finding those, because I have to tell you, that dual joint is so important for our students. And now, so this is hot off this is not public information yet. It won't start till the spring, but we are going to try to encourage students to improve their GPA, and then we can accept them in 102 and 201 into the dual joint. This way, because once they graduate from us, the process is much more intense when they apply to Hunter. Hunter, say they don't go in the dual joint, they have to take the NCLEX first, and then they have to apply, and it's much, and I think their GPA is higher than what they're taking from us. So it is a beautiful program for our students to be in, as far as making it easier for them to becoming nurses right away.
Okay, in regard to that, I don't know if this was ever really discussed. How long do the dual joins give the students to take the NCLEX after graduating from here?
No, so that's a great question, but our dual joint is contingent. They take the NCLEX right when they graduate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they don't go to the dual joint, they have to graduate, take the NCLEX, and then apply, from what I understand. Or they can apply, but they won't be accepted till they've taken the NCLEX.
So what happens to the students that basically take the NCLEX but don't pass? Let's say the ones that are about to graduate now in the fall, they only have that month of January to pass it. So if they don't pass it, they don't go on to the dual joint.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So the ones graduating now, they will take and they can go right into the dual joint without taking the NCLEX. I'm sorry, yes. They can go into dual joint without taking the NCLEX, but they will take it towards the end of February. We'll give them a month to prepare, and they can still be enrolled in a dual joint. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
That's why it's so nice to have this transition for them.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking that in spring that gives them plenty of time, but I'm like, what happens in
no.
January?
Yeah, that's a little tight for them. I agree with you, but they'll work with them. It's online, which is nice. So they try to get it done. They do get it done before they get into the dual joint by the end, or maybe simultaneously. But I haven't heard anything otherwise than that. But yeah, it is tight.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think that's all I wanted to say.
I think we're at the end of the road. It's been this is probably one of our longest trainings, but
thank you for your patience. You guys, and thank you for letting us come late.
Yeah, that's fine. No problem.
All right, take care, guys.
All right, take care. All right, on that note, everyone, thank you for attending. Again, this will be recorded and we'll be sending out the videos probably by the end of the week. So thank you guys. Have a great day. And again, thanks for coming once again. Have a good one.